Yes, I bought a 2005 Pontiac GTO with an LS2 engine, and guess what? It's going in this car right here. However, to do that, I gotta pull the engine from this, so that's what I'm gonna be doing tonight. If you're new to RevMatchTV, my name is Eric, and I'm doing the world's first LS2 swap into a Mercedes SLK. If you haven't done an engine pull before, it's not that difficult. Haven't done it in this car, but the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put it up on jack stands, and then we're gonna drain the fluids, namely the oil and the water.
I hear you breathe, but I can't see if you're right here next to me. Something's wrong, wasn't it fun? Is it now we're done?
I've got the water drain and I've got the oil out, but I've got an observation on Mercedes engineering. So the radiator appears to be connected to the heat exchanger for the air conditioning system, and they're stuck together, and so I can't actually pull out the radiator separately. Seems like a really bad idea and a really bad design, and it's just gonna drive up costs when you've got to replace the radiator.
You get dressed, I'm like a mess, and you tell me to confess.
Upon closer inspection, it turns out it was just two bolts to separate them. They are very squeezed together though, so I've got the radiator out and I've got the air exchanger for the air conditioning out, and now we can get a little bit closer to the engine.
And you tell me to confess. Oh.
I got a ton more space in here now. I've got like a good foot between the front of the engine and this support. That's gonna give me a lot more space. So I think the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this the system here. This is for the intake. This goes through the intercooler. Same on this side too. And then I'll start unbuttoning the stuff up here on top of the engine, and we'll just see how far I can get tonight.
I don't know what to say, what to do, how to make you see.
I've got the intercooler out now, and so that gives me a whole lot more space down here to work with. So now I've got, I don't know, 8 inches, something like that, close to a foot to pull the engine out.
This is nothing in real life, it might just have been a bad dream.
Just gonna keep continuing here, get this pipe off, get all this stuff off on this side with the air intake, and start getting these hoses off, get the engine mounts off, and then start getting at the wiring harness.
You can run, you can hide, but you can't put the blame on me.
I'm making pretty good progress so far. I've got the intake off, I've got all the airbox stuff off, and on the passenger side of the engine, it seems like I've got nothing connected anymore. On the driver's side, there's a bunch of stuff for the AC, which I want to take out, but I want to be careful with that because I think I want to try to get the next engine, the LS, to actually have air conditioning. I want to try to retain all that stuff as much as possible. Then I'm down to the steering pump, which is connected obviously to the steering rack. I don't know that I'm going to be using the existing steering rack that's in there, but I might. I've still got to get the wiring loom off of the injectors right now. Underneath the car, there's a few things I've got to do. There's a ground cable I've got to disconnect. There's some kind of piping coming off of the passenger side of the engine. I'm not quite sure what that is. It could be some sort of emissions situation. Don't know it yet. I got to take care of that. There's the motor mounts, obviously, the O2 sensor, and I've got to get the exhaust off too. I don't know if it's going to be any better once I get the LS in here, but I'm looking at the starter on this thing, and replacing it must be a freaking nightmare. Let me show it to you. It is so tight up in there. It's right by the steering rack. I'm going to pull the camera off. Let's take a look at this thing. Here's the starter. You can see right there where that bolt is. There's a solenoid on top of it, which you probably can't see too well, and there's a cable going onto it for power. I can't even get my hands in there to get to the cable. And just pulling back a little farther from the suspension here is part of the steering. Here's the steering system right here. Here's the lower control arm. How do you even get to that starter to get it out? I have no clue, and I'm sure glad I don't have to do it. But where I'm at right now is I'm going to try to get that cable off the starter. I'm going to try to get the line disconnected for the clutch from the firewall into the transmission. I want to give a massive shout out to my buddy Josh at Southern Hooning. He's got a 240SX channel, and he's got a KA turbo in his car, which is pretty unusual. So I'm going to put a link to his channel down below. Go check it out. Thank you for the t-shirt, Josh. He's got one of mine. We're doing a little swap. and my merchandise will be available super soon. If you're enjoying this montage, just let me know in the comments and hit the subscribe button. Remember the notification bell too, because YouTube doesn't always notify people unless you hit notify me for every video. I want to thank all the new subscribers for joining and coming along with this ridiculous swap that I'm doing here. I'm going to try to get it done as fast as possible. If you're new to this, I'm pretty new to this too, so this is like a crazy thing that I'm doing just because I think it's a whole lot of fun. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Running fast, never look back. Now we're over, that's a fact. Phasing light, see it all bright.